For a bit of context, the events of this story unfolded when I was 21 years old. As a male, I've always felt somewhat awkward and never quite fit in with the popular crowd, nor did I find my clique in high school. Talking to girls and asking them out has always been a challenge for me. It's not that I'm overly nervous, I just struggle to find the right words and keep the conversation going. On the contrary, my twin sister is the complete opposite. She was always popular, had a large circle of friends, and often found herself in relationships. We used to joke about how different we were from each other, but it never bothered me. Some of my fondest memories from childhood involve goofing around and teasing each other with my sister. Fast forward to when I was 21, right around Valentine's Day. I'm not sure if it was the constant cold weather or the fact that my sister was spending time with her boyfriend, but I was feeling particularly lonely. I asked my sister to help me set up a dating profile on one of the many dating websites out there. We went through all the criteria and waited a few days to see if I'd get any responses. I received a few messages, but most conversations fizzled out after a few exchanges. Then, the day before Valentine's Day, I received a message from a girl who was incredibly attractive and wouldn't have given me the time of day in high school. Her name was Gwen, which I liked because it reminded me of Gwen Stacy from the Spider-Man comics. Talking to her was effortless, which was a relief because I struggled with steering conversations. She laughed at my dry sense of humor and always kept the conversation going. Thinking she might be a catfish, I asked her to video chat with me, and she agreed. I was shocked when it was really her. I couldn't believe my luck. We talked about various things, and she eventually told me that I was one of the nicest people she had ever spoken to, unlike the other guys she had interacted with in the past. We made plans for a date and to meet in person. When the day came, I picked her up downtown since she said she had to work. We had drinks and dinner, planning to go to the movies afterward. However, as I was paying the bill, she suggested going on an adventure to Blue Lakes. Confused but intrigued, I agreed, even though I preferred the idea of watching a movie where I didn't have to worry about carrying on a conversation. We arrived at Blue Lakes, a beautiful park in my hometown. Although it's not actually called Blue Lakes, everyone refers to it as such because of the deep blue color of the lake. It was around 10 p.m., and I started to feel nervous, fearing I might mess things up somehow. I texted my sister for advice, but her response only made me more anxious. She mentioned seeing a couple of cars in the parking lot, but I tried not to dwell on it. Gwen took my hand, and we started walking along one of the trails by the lake. She seemed captivated by the scenery, which made me feel more at ease. However, when I checked my phone again, I saw my sister's urgent message, "Get out of there now." Confused and alarmed, I looked up to find Gwen smiling at me. "What's wrong, Andrew?" she asked softly. I was at a loss for words, my mind racing with possibilities. Ignoring my sister's warning, Gwen asked flirtatiously, "Don't you want to kiss me, Andrew?" Summoning my courage, I replied, "I need to leave, Gwen." She laughed and reassured me, but I turned to walk away. That's when I saw two guys blocking the path ahead. Before I could react, two more emerged from the other side and tackled me to the ground. They took turns punching and kicking me, leaving me tied to a tree with minor injuries. My sister had called the police as soon as I texted her, and she arrived just in time to find me. One of the attackers was apprehended, but the others and Gwen remained elusive. Despite the physical scars healed, the emotional trauma lingers, reminding me of the dangers lurking beneath seemingly innocent encounters. If you liked this story, subscribe to the channel to stay tuned. While many people are enthusiastic about Valentine's Day, I've always viewed the holiday as somewhat dull and uneventful, much like New Year's Eve. At the time of this story, I was 20 years old and working the overnight shift at a small 24-hour convenience store. The night started like any other shift I had worked before, slow and uneventful. By around midnight, I had completed most of my tasks and settled in to pass the time watching YouTube or Netflix. Then, at about 1:30 a.m., the bell chimed, signaling someone's entry into the store. It was a tall, handsome man who looked vaguely familiar. I greeted him with a polite, "How are you tonight, sir?" And he responded by addressing me by name, Cassie. I was momentarily taken aback that he recognized me, but then it dawned on me that he was Ricky, someone I went to high school with. Although we weren't particularly close, we were always friendly. After exchanging pleasantries and catching up for a bit, Ricky mentioned that he had recently gone through a breakup and was having trouble sleeping, hence his late-night wanderings. He expressed gratitude for the chance to reconnect with an old friend and asked if we could sit and chat for a while. Feeling sympathetic, I agreed. The first 10 to 15 minutes of conversation were normal and even enjoyable as we reminisced about high school memories. However, when Ricky excused himself to use the restroom, I couldn't shake a nagging feeling of unease. While he was away, I decided to look him up on Facebook. To my surprise, I found that we had some mutual friends, but I also stumbled upon some unsettling photos of Ricky. Among them were images of him posing with knives and symbols that resembled witchcraft. One photo even featured a pentagram. When Ricky returned from the restroom, his demeanor had changed. He spoke in a low, almost menacing tone, expressing his happiness at seeing me again and declaring his love for me. Shocked and alarmed, I tried to brush off his advances, but he became increasingly aggressive, insisting that we were meant to be together. When he revealed a tattoo of my name on his chest and brandished a knife, I was paralyzed with fear. In that terrifying moment, a customer entered the store. A truck driver who intervened and subdued Ricky until the police arrived. Ricky was arrested, and the footage from the store helped secure his conviction. I am eternally grateful to the truck driver who saved me from a potentially dangerous situation. Since then, I've moved far away from that town, and I no longer work overnight shifts. I often wonder about Ricky, whether he received help or remains incarcerated. But most of all, I hope to never encounter him again, haunted by the memory of his chilling gaze and the sinister tattoo bearing my name. Valentine's Day represents a time of love, expressing emotions, and showing gratitude to that special someone in your life. 4 years ago, my girlfriend and I opted for a Valentine's Day outing. Where we reside, February still offers fairly warm weather. Hence, I planned a picnic for us, something we had been anticipating for about a week. Both of us adore the outdoors, so I thought we could perhaps take a leisurely stroll or a brief hike after the picnic. About a month prior, while on a hike, I stumbled upon an incredible spot suitable for our picnic. It was tucked away off one of the main trails, requiring only a 15-minute walk, not overly strenuous. After a semi-narrow bend, it led to a small rock formation overlooking our home, providing a stunning view. There was ample flatland for us to sit and enjoy our picnic. I meticulously set up the area with chairs, tables, and a variety of her favorite snacks. Finally, when Valentine's Day arrived, we embarked on our adventure. Luckily, it was a gorgeous sunny day, with a pleasant breeze and clear skies. Hand in hand, we traversed the trail until we reached the spot where I veered off the path. I reassured her to trust me as we ventured off the beaten track. Initially hesitant, she soon embraced the journey. The short trip proved effortless for her, and we arrived at the spot in no time. She was mesmerized by the breathtaking horizon, and even more so when she saw the spread of food I had prepared. Everything seemed perfect, until suddenly. While we were laughing and enjoying the beautiful view, she abruptly stopped. Concerned, I inquired what was wrong, and she mentioned hearing something in the woods. Peering into the dark trees behind us, I saw nothing and jokingly dismissed her concerns. However, she insisted I investigate further. Annoyed, I reluctantly agreed. As I approached the tree line and scanned through the dense foliage, I saw nothing discernible. She joined me and, in a terrified voice, pointed out what appeared to be a person-shaped shadow. Squinting, I tried to make out the shape, dismissing it as just a shadow. She was hysterical, pleading for me to take a closer look. Stepping into the dark forest, my worst fears were realized as the shadow figure moved. Feeling intense anxiety, I tried to conceal my fear, not wanting to alarm my girlfriend or the potentially dangerous person lurking nearby. After a few steps, I concocted an excuse to return to our picnic spot. Grabbing my girlfriend, I attempted to reassure her while admitting that I did, in fact, see a person in the trees. She cried hysterically, and I racked my brain for the best escape plan. Glancing over the lookout, I realized descending was our only option, albeit risky with the lunatic potentially following us. Leaving our belongings behind, we descended the rock formation. As she ran ahead, I glanced back and saw the shadow figure, unmistakably a man, approaching us. With no specific details visible, I urged my girlfriend to run faster. Finally reaching the trail, we caught our breath, hearing the ominous sound of footsteps behind us. Attempting to call the police, she realized there was no signal. Arriving at the park's parking lot, we found 2 police cars. The authorities were already on the lookout, prompted by a jogger's discovery of a man on one of the trails, claiming to have been mugged and robbed. Despite our detailed account, the police couldn't locate the assailant in the woods. Reflecting on the incident, I'm grateful my girlfriend spotted him from afar. Nature trails now evoke anxiety for both of us, and I've yet to return to that specific park. Henceforth, we've decided it's safer to stay indoors, especially on Valentine's Day. The events I'm about to recount took place 2 years ago on Valentine's Day, marking the first Valentine's Day celebration with my now fiancée, Dee. We decided to go on a double date with another couple we knew, opting for a cozy evening at their house with dinner and games. None of us were keen on the party scene, so it was the perfect plan for us. After spending a couple of enjoyable hours with our friends, we decided to head home for the night, looking forward to watching movies in front of our electric fireplace. Their house wasn't far, but it felt like a remote area once you left the town's outskirts. The journey involved driving down long, unlit roads flanked by cornfields and farms, creating an eerie atmosphere. About halfway down the road, we noticed flashing lights piercing through the darkness ahead. As we approached, we saw a massive craft hovering over a field, an aircraft of sorts, but with a peculiar shape and size. It emitted an array of lights in erratic patterns, captivating yet unsettling. Despite its size, the craft made no noise, adding to the surreal experience. As I attempted to record the sighting on my phone, the lights suddenly went out, followed by a loud humming noise as the craft slowly approached the road where we were parked. Feeling apprehensive, we decided to drive away, but the image of the craft lingered in our minds. Upon reaching home, we tried contacting our friends, but they didn't respond immediately. When we finally reached them, they seemed skeptical of our account, claiming they hadn't heard or seen anything unusual. However, we later learned that others in the area had reported similar sightings, sparking speculation about military testing or extraterrestrial activity. Though the incident left us with more questions than answers, it became a Valentine's Day tradition for us to revisit the spot at the same time each year, hoping for clarity. While the experience was unnerving, it bonded us and left an indelible mark on our Valentine's Day celebrations. This is a narrative of an incident that occurred to me last year on Valentine's Day. I had recently purchased a house with my soon-to-be husband, who works tirelessly and always spoils me whenever he can. On that day, while he was at work, I decided to dash down to the local store to buy some ingredients for a romantic dinner. The store was conveniently located just 100 yards away from my house, so I quickly left around 1 p.m. without locking the door. Living in a safe neighborhood with hardly any crime, and with the police station just around the block, I thought it wouldn't be a big deal to leave the door unlocked for less than 10 minutes. However, my errand took a little longer than expected, and I returned in just under 15 minutes. The rest of the afternoon proceeded as usual. I prepared dinner, set the table with candles, and anticipated a lovely evening. Around 4:30 p.m., while I was in the bathroom, I noticed a strange smell, almost like cologne. It struck me as odd since my boyfriend didn't wear cologne, but I brushed it off, attributing it to my body wash or something similar. Later, at about 7 p.m., my boyfriend returned home from work, bearing Valentine's Day flowers and a delectable cheesecake for dessert. We enjoyed a delightful evening together, but as he went upstairs to freshen up, he suddenly stopped and remarked about the unusual smell. Descending the stairs, he asked if I smelled it too, the cologne-like scent, which confirmed his suspicion. He silently signaled to me to call 911, and I discreetly made the call, not wanting to alert any potential intruder. Unbeknownst to me at the time, my boyfriend had noticed muddy footprints on the bathroom floor and wet footprints inside the shower, indicating an unwelcome visitor. Beside the bathroom was a spare room that we rarely used, and the closed door was highly unusual. Slowly opening it, my boyfriend discovered a small unkempt man dressed in black with brown work boots. Despite his surprise, my boyfriend managed to restrain the intruder until the police arrived. Thankfully, no one was harmed, but the intruder's motives remained unknown. Alone with him for the entire afternoon, I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. That night, plagued by guilt, I realized it was my lapse in judgment for not locking the door, a decision that could have had dire consequences. However, I was grateful for my boyfriend's quick thinking and the prompt response of the authorities. This year, my boyfriend took the day off on Valentine's Day, and we're still processing the ordeal. The unanswered questions linger, leaving us uneasy. But through this experience, we've learned to prioritize safety and remain vigilant. Though unsettling, it has strengthened our bond and serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of security.